Hey guys, it's Josh with Project Idea, where we put ideas into action. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure and hit the subscribe button below. Also, while you're there, hit the bell icon, that way you can be updated on when I release a new video. Today we're going to be working on a project that it's a project that we made for my son for one of his projects at school. What his project was on was weapons of the Civil War. So what we decided to make, rather than take real weapons in, figured it'd probably be a safer thing for him to have some fake ones. So we made some out of foam. These particular ones are grenades. They're designed after grenades from the Civil War. So as you can see here, just cut out a circle for this part of this particular grenade. This is going to be a Confederate grenade here. I had one for the Union soldiers, one for the Confederate, and this is going to be the top of it. It looks very similar to maybe like one of the cartoon bombs that you would have had with the fuse in the top of it. This particular one here. So I just used the heat gun to kind of shape it a little bit, and as you can see, I'm just using a foam ball that we had bought at the Dollar Tree, and it was about the right size, and I used that as the actual bomb itself. And this is a mop that we had bought too. All I needed from that whole mop was one piece of rope. I'll use it for something else. Anyway, in order to stiffen that up a little bit to make it look more like a fuse, I used Mod Podge and just painted the Mod Podge over the entire rope and let it dry, and it actually worked out really good that way. After gluing those pieces together, I just spray painted everything, just a black spray paint. And you can see it's looking a little more like a bomb every time. I used hot glue to just put the fuse in. As you can see, that fuse stiffened up quite a bit. It looks a little more like an actual fuse now, and the hot glue, putting that in there, it looked pretty good all in all, I think. The next one we were working on was the Union soldiers grenade, and what it had on the end of it, which we're making right here, was a plunger. The way this was, it looks more like a football, so what we used here was a cheap dollar store football. I just chopped off the ends of this one to kind of get more of the shape of what it should be like. And it looks kind of like one of those Nerf footballs with the tail fin to help it guide. So we cut a pallet board that I had and just cut like a piece to go in the back of that, and of course cut the plunger out there. The plunger goes on the end, and the way that particular grenade would work is, as it flew through the air, it would be, when it would land and hit the ground, that plunger would push into the front of the grenade, and that's what detonated the grenade. After that, I used a dowel rod and just glued that on the plunger part here. I used hot glue. I'd probably recommend using something a little stronger, because it ended up, that was the weakest part, and it did end up breaking off. But I mean, it worked okay for his project. As you can see here, I just cut a square part for that piece of the pallet board to go in, and I used quite a bit of hot glue just to cover the entire end, so it'd give me a better surface to work on and to paint with. I also used hot glue to try to cover up some of the seams in the football to make it a little less looking like a football. It did okay, but I'm sure there's other ways that you could do this. It ended up turning out okay though. Of course, right there you can kind of see how I put that in the end and it looks like a plunger detonator. After that, I just taped up the wooden part because the wooden part is actually going to stay that color. I used Plasti Dip and just coated the entire thing up with Plasti Dip. After everything was coated with Plasti Dip, which I guess technically I didn't really need to use Plasti Dip. I could have just used black paint. I wasn't sure on that at first. But after that was all said and done, I put Mod Podge over the entire thing. Because Mod Podge actually dries a clear color. So that way I was trying to help seal everything so it wouldn't scratch off or anything like that. And it worked really good after it did dry. Here I had some white foam, just craft foam is all this is. I just cut 4 strips and made it into almost like tail fins for this grenade. Of course, I didn't want to keep them white, so I did paint these more of like a tan color and use some darker brown. It looked a little more leather look, I guess, because I think these were supposed to be like leather pins on this. And then after all that was said and done, I ended up hot gluing it on this grenade. I think it turned out to be a pretty decent project, and I think his project turned out really good. He did a really good job on that, but this gave him a little bit of visual to put with it, and it did look very similar to what you would have seen as far as a replica of the Civil War grenades. So hope you guys like this. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be updated on any future videos that I post. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.